Let's have a hand, not just for Jason, though, that for all the LDA directors, everybody who put on this conference today. I think everyone did a fantastic job. And a few closing words from Jason.
Thank you, Jack. How about a hand for Jack Spear? Yeah! That. So, we've talked I just want to wrap a few things up here before we have a few drinks. Thanks to Mike and the DAC group for that. I think he's going to regret it after I get to the bar, because after putting on a conference for a couple days, I'm ready for a cocktail or six. So anyway, so this morning, one of the first things that Eric Qualman talked about was multitasking. We're doing it too much. We're doing too much of it. It's overtaking us. We've heard that theme throughout the day on mobile usage, so on and so forth. We also happen to live in a media environment that we are starting to mimic. And the media environment is there's an awful lot of noise and not enough signal. You've heard that over and over again in content marketing talks, because people say you have to be able to elevate your content. You have to create what I have always called holy smokes content, so that your content, it rises above everyone else's. That's how you stand out as Signal amongst the noise of all the other publishers out there in social media, in publishing, on podcasts, on video blogs and video casts and video podcasts out there. Your content has to rise above others. You have to stand out as Signal amongst the noise. We are adopting that same type of mentality in how we work. We are doing too much at one time. We are throwing too many balls in the air and trying to do too much over here, too much over there. And as a result, we are finding ourselves modestly good at a lot of things, probably really crappy at some of them, and not great at anything. And so, going back to one of the first things you heard today from Eric Qualman, if you are able to focus on one thing, you're able to do that one thing as good as you possibly can and then move on to another. Now, the reality of it is, for us, for our departments, not just us as individuals, but for our departments, for our businesses, that's almost impossible for us to do. It's hard for us to say, let's just do one thing, because, again, we have to have an integrated marketing approach. That's a better approach to make sure that you are reaching your consumer at multiple touch points. That means you've got to do email, you've got to have web, you've got to have social, you've got to have online media, you've got to have social advertising. So we've sort of created this world of noise that now we have to throw another ball in the air, and here we are juggling. And we're just juggling and we're juggling, and eventually balls get dropped. So I would guess that everybody in this room probably feels that pressure, that reality that we're in. That you've got a lot of balls in the air, you don't have enough time to even clear out your inbox, much less get the tasks done that you have to get done to move your department forward. So I have a challenge for you. This is what I want you to do on Monday when you walk into work. I want you to make a priority list of all of the things you're doing, whether it's you as an individual, or whether it's your team, or your department, or your brand, or your business. From a marketing perspective, list everything. If you have 10 projects, that's fine. If you have 50, if you have 1,000. But I want you to make a list of all the different projects you've got going on. And then, without passion and without bias, I want you to draw a line on the piece of paper for the bottom 5%. Okay? So if you have 10 projects, draw a line above number 10, okay? If you have 100, draw a line at 95, right above 95. And then I am here to give you permission. I'm going to empower you right here today from Digital Crossroads. Take the bottom 5 and kill them. Don't do them. Stop putting money toward the bottom 5. Kill those projects Monday, right then and there. Take that money, take those resources, and put them into something in the top 10, something in the top 5, something that needs a little extra or could use a little extra attention to be a little bit better or to get over the hump to be really, really good. And so take the bottom 5 on your priority list, redistribute that to the top. And then I want you to do that next month. And then I want you to do it in December. And I'm going to bet you that by the time you get to March or April, you're going to get to the point to where you're doing about 10 or 15 or 20 things really, really well. And you're going to see what you can now put in that 5% and cut off. You might get to the point, and I hope you get to the point, and it might be 3 months, it might be 6 months, it might be a year, it might be more. I hope you get to the point to where you look at it and say, our priority list goes down this many projects deep, and everything's firing on all the right cylinders, even at the bottom. We can't afford to cut anything. That's when you know you're doing it right. That's when you know your marketing is working. That's when you know the engine is running the way it's supposed to run. When you cannot afford to cut the bottom 5% because those bottom 5% are optimally successful, stop cutting. But right now, we have got to realize that the only thing holding us back from being really great at what we do is just what Jay said. We're spending way more time, way more resources, way more money, and throwing way too many people at stuff that doesn't work, at stuff that doesn't matter. Now, I'm all for testing new things. Try something new, test it out, that's fine. But we've got to be honest with ourselves. Look at that bottom 5% and say, you're gone, you're dead, you're out of here. And you have to do it dispassionately. It can't be that you cut out the bottom 4%, but the CMO's pet project stays. You've got to have this internal conversation. We've got to be honest with ourselves. We've got to realize there's way too much noise and not enough signal out there, but there's also way too much noise and not enough signal in here. And we've got to do something about that, or we're just going to keep being the hamster in the wheel. We're never actually going to break out and go forward. We're just going to keep running in a circle. So you have my permission, not that that matters in your organization, not that the LDA is supposed to be able to come in and tell you how to change your organization, but you have my permission to sit down with your team, make that priority list, be as dispassionate as you can about drawing that line on that bottom 5%, and kill every bit of your list that is underneath that line. If you do that now, revisit it in a month, revisit it in a second month, a third month, I can almost guarantee you that if you sit here in February, March, or April and be real honest with how that project worked, you're going to look back and say, wow, that's one of the smartest things we've done in a long time here, because we got rid of the stuff that was getting in our way and we started focusing on the stuff that was making us successful. That's the last thing I want to leave you with today. I hope you employ that on Monday. Real quickly before we go, I have to say another round of thanks to all of our speakers, both yesterday for our workshops and certainly the great lineup we had for today. Most of them, came here because this was a fundraiser for the Louisville Digital Association. They didn't come here because we're throwing out checks left and right. The whole goal is to not throw out checks to make this happen. So how about a big round of applause for all of our speakers and presenters for the last 2 days. Also, I would be absolutely remiss if we didn't also thank all of our sponsors. You've seen their logos. You see them around the room. If I try to name them all off, I'm going to forget somebody, so I'm not going to try to do it. But please do visit these folks as we mix and mingle here for the last hour or so of the day. They have put a lot of time and energy and effort in being here to help us present this content. And again, their investment and your investment from a ticket perspective goes to providing programming year-round, most of it for free, from the Louisville Digital Association. So thank you to our sponsors for helping out this week. And despite what some people may have said from the stage or intimated here or there, I don't do this by myself. I've got a nice team of board of directors that help me make decisions that carry a lot of the workload. Chief among them, of course, is our president, Christine Vaughn. Stand up and take a bow, Christine. Thank you. The rest of the board members who are here, you guys please stand up. I know Mike, Bailey, Nick, Candace, Leah. Who else is here? Am I forgetting somebody? So these folks volunteer a lot of their time to help run the Louisville Digital Association, help us provide great programming like what you've seen the last 2 days and certainly at our monthly events, and we couldn't do without them. And last but not least, I would like for you to wait till I'm finished. I want one more big round of applause for you. If it weren't for you, we wouldn't have the inspiration to do this. We wouldn't have the feedback that helps us get better every year. The first one of these was at the old Mastersons. It was a combo presentation. There were about 4 or 5 speakers. It was a half-day event with IABC, and we partnered with them on this event for several years and still do as an affiliate partner. They offer this event up to their members as well. And if I'm not mistaken, Katie Payne and Kevin Dugan and myself and maybe one other person spoke at that event. I think we might have had 75 or 80 people. We're hitting 300 this year. We're in a casino. It's a 2-day event. It keeps getting better, but it's not because of anything I do or anything the board does. It's the feedback we get from you and the desire to learn more and have bigger speakers, a bigger venue, and a better experience. So how about a big round of applause for you? Thank you so much. And now, the moment we've all been waiting for. Let's get a drink.